Hi, welcome to our discussion in Advanced System Analysis and Design. So here we are in the session two of Information Technology Department. So here we're going to discuss the approaches in gathering system requirements, various prototyping techniques, how to use cases and scenarios used in system design by net access, and what is the use of top-bottom and bottom-up method in system integration. Okay, so now let's move into our first discussion, which is the approaches in gathering system requirements. Okay, approaches to gather requirements from clients of not access is use agile method to develop the project we made at level 4. So the following approaches are as the following. So we have preliminary investigation, conduct some interviews for managers in the team. The existing problems of the system would be involved. So asking the users what is the problem of the system. So the user's needs and systems capability service, and gathering all the information need, and then after that, feasibility study. So guidelines for effective interviews, including plan the interview, prepare interviewee. So of course, if you want to go to the company and while observing the system, you better need to have an interview, which you need to have an open-ended questions. So deep research and reviewing all the questions as well is very important, which is we saw that in the not access strategy, how they made the successful system, how they conduct the system, interviewing the users and stakeholders as much as possible. So that means they can able to get information as much as possible as they can regarding the needs of the demand of their needs. So listening and take notes during interviews to get information from the people who will be answering the questions and seeking diverse views from different people inside of the company. So those are the approaches that needs to be done or needs to adapt and applied during the gathering process of the system requirements, which has been used in not access. We have here the observation users, which is watching users to do their jobs. Then evaluation of the process based on the guidelines or the procedures. Okay, now let's move into various prototyping techniques. So here are the techniques that is part of the process that we're going to discuss. So the prototype is a process that used in developing the system according to its construction. So there are various approaches used in software development, which use depending on its specifications. So it is quite confusing if both users and developers do not have a clear insight of their uses. So it is characterized into four that needs to understand by the developers. So number one, we have users need. Number two, we have developed prototype. Three, we have implemented and used. Four, and revised and enhanced. So the diagram will illustrate it is either one of the three. Exploratory, we have experimental, and we have evolutionary. So as you can see on the diagram, we have initial prototype, user review of prototype, and there is a goal that needs to achieve or attain. After that, there is revision and review. So the prototype and software development approaches, they can be experimental, they can be exploratory, or they could be a revolutionary. So now let's move into how to use cases scenarios used within the system by not access. Here we have demonstration of the system. We have thorough feasibility study. We have creating design, functional requirements and non-functional requirements, and the goal. So this is how to use the cases. So the use cases is so important in developing the project. And that's because the idea can transform from the invisible into the visible thing that the users can able to see what would be happening if the system will develop. So here the sequence or the transactions or the processes can be able to explain and show to the people that this is the scenario. This is the actual scenario, the situations that could be happening when the system is finished. So, and that is why the use cases and scenarios used in NetAccess as one of the example here in the presentation is very important. Since the ATM machine is working properly and the customer can able to do transactions, they don't need to go personally to the bank to get transactions. So they could do by themselves and doing the things. So this is the customer and this is the bank. Once the customer will do some transactions using the machine, the bank system will going to respond according to the query of the customers. So that is the use cases. So bringing the feature plan for the present time can be able to present to the users using the use cases from invisible idea to the visible thing that the users or clients can able to understand and relate to the situation. Now let's move into the use of top-down and bottom-up methodologies in relation to system integration. So the system integration is a process of combining the module of the whole system. The system is made of many modules that developed by developers. So the system integration is a process of combining the module of the whole system. The system is made of many modules that developed by developers. So during the integration process, all modules will be combined and run them. This is to find flows that need to fix within the system. The development process is extremely challenging, so that methodologies are required to use. As a result, organizations use top bottom and bottom up methodologies to execute the integration testing. So we have two different things that we need to discuss. We have top bottom method. So it says that it is a process by which the integration will start from general into specific parts of the system. So for instance, the system will be tested as a whole to find faults before dividing into small parts to find the issues of the system. It is considered useful for bigger projects because the problem will be appeared early before conducting more integrated testing. The bottom-up method is the opposite of the top-bottom method. So the bottom-up method is a process where the integration process will start from the specific to general parts of the system. So the integration will start from the bottom to the top to higher module using top module of the system. So the sequence must be followed to succeed on this technique. As you can see that on the picture here, the bottom up is started from the bottom, which is a specific, to the top until the developers can finally see what is the problem of the system. While the general top to bottom is started from the big scenario of the system, finding the faults or the issues all the way down to the specific criteria that can be able to find out whenever they find the issues in the system. So that is the techniques that is useful for some projects. The useful of both method varied from what kind of system we're going to develop.